Hi guys, welcome back to Guy Set, a guy's guide to what should be talked about. I was asked a question recently about how to become more interesting for dates, and that question unlocked an entirely new mindset for me that led to me creating the concept for this whole episode surrounding this question: how do I become more interesting? Because I think this question applies to every facet of your life. Dating, your job, your career, your friendships, work, your relationships, your mindset, your confidence, your life, really everything. I think it's personal. I think it's situational. I think it's relationshipinal. I think it applies to everything. It applies to you, it applies to the people around you, it applies to how you think about yourself, how you talk about yourself, how you walk, how you interact, how you perceive yourself. It really, I think, affects everything you do and you say. When you believe that you are interesting and that you have interesting things to say and that you're doing interesting things and that you're pursuing interesting things. And I think the answer to this question and this question will really set your year up correctly and open you up to new possibilities and new adventures and new explorations. I think this is a question that we should honestly never stop asking ourselves, because there is always room to evolve and to learn and to grow and explore. And I think this is a question that I ask myself all the time. I think there's always new things that I'm interested in and new things I want to pursue. But the specific question of how do I become more interesting, I think is really interesting within itself. And by the end of this episode, I think you will have a path to discover your answer to that question, the question of how do I become more interesting? And I think this is kind of the key to unlock everything. May it be for dating and your career, may it be for confidence and your mindset, may it be for whatever you strive for, whatever you're working on or working towards, or whatever you want to attach to it. I don't want to prescribe my own meaning to this. I think it really can unlock anything you're looking for. And I believe that your answer that you will hopefully have by the end of this episode, no promises, but I'm hopeful it will help, will unlock a lot for you. And I think the easiest way to start answering this question of how do I become more interesting lies within experimentation, in trying new things, in allowing yourself to kind of make a fool of yourself and say to yourself, like, look, I don't know what I'm doing here, and that's okay. And to not be afraid to be seen trying by yourself and by other people. I think there's two things there. One, we don't like to try new things because we're not good at them, and it sucks to not be good at things, and it kind of is hard to be a fool. It's hard to make a fool of yourself because you don't want whatever will come from that internally, because you don't want to feel like a fool. You don't want to feel like an idiot. You don't want to feel like you don't know what you're doing or how to do it or if you're ever going to figure it out. But you also don't want other people to see that. You don't want other people to see you not succeeding or to see you failing in a way or see you look like a fool or kind of look like an idiot and not know what you're doing. It's not what people like to do. It's not within our nature to put ourselves out there and kind of make a fool of ourselves and be seen falling on our face and getting back up again. People really only like to show the end result. I brought this up in my last episode. I talked about seeing like LinkedIn notifications of a friend that either got a promotion or got a new job. And people only present the final verdict, the final version of the work it took, the work that they finally got to and the accomplishment they got to. They never show the work it took to get them there. They never show the quiet moments where they're sitting on their laptop early in the morning before work or late at night after work thinking, what am I going to do next? How am I going to find a new job? Putting in the applications, putting in the work, reaching out to people, cold applying, making cover letters, changing up your resume to fit the new job description, preparing for the interview, feeling like a fool in an idiot after the interview when it didn't go well. Like, people don't like to show those moments. They don't like to show that messy middle part where they don't know what they're doing. And that same kind of mindset or that same feeling applies to finding new interests, exploring new passions, finding new hobbies. And that is how I think you start finding the answer to the question of how do I become more interesting. It's all in that messy middle. It's all in allowing yourself to start at the beginning again and kind of allow yourself to be seen failing, to be seen trying by more than anybody else, by yourself. And it can be an individual pursuit that you keep to yourself, or it can be one that you put out there for anybody to see. There is no right or wrong way to become more interesting or discover new facets of yourself or discover new things that you are inspired by or interested in. But the first step here is to experiment, try new things, and then find a new hobby from there. You have to start by doing something, by trying. That is the only way to start. You just have to start. You have to kind of throw yourself into whatever you're interested in. And I heard a really great piece of advice from Will Shortz, who is the creator of the New York Times crossword. And I found this really interesting because I feel like we don't hear from people like that often. And it's from his essay, How to Solve the New York Times Crossword Puzzle. And I think his advice is perfect for starting. He said, begin with the answers you're surest of and build from there. However ill-defined your interests are, there are some things you know you'd hate doing for a living and some things that seem more promising than others. That's a start. I feel like that advice, I'm simplifying down, not into career or into work, but into hobbies and interests and passions. You know the things that you don't want to do. You know the things that you're kind of like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to try that. But there have to be also things that you're like, I think I could actually like that. I think I do want to try that. That's something that's been on my mind that I haven't allowed myself to do because I don't think I'll be good at it. But like, I am definitely interested in that. Or that is something that like, maybe one time down the road, I'd like to try. There are categories of things. There are like things that you're like, no. And there are things like, maybe I could try that. I could be good at that. Maybe that's something that I would want to do later in life and at some point. So have you ever thought to yourself, like, I'd want to try that, but for the million reasons that you tell yourself in your head that convince you not to, you don't do it? You might think you won't be good at that, so you don't. Or you might think you'll fail at that, so you won't. Dr. Seuss up in here. You might think you'll be seen by other people trying and they'll judge you and they'll think less of it for you, so you never try. We could stay there for a while and all of those things and all of the reasons why you don't and why you won't, but that's not where I want to stay. That's not where I want to go in this episode, and that's not where I plan to stay ever, because I think there are so many reasons why we stop ourselves. And that's not what I want to do. And that's not what I think you want to do either. Now, I want you to think to yourself, what are those things? What are the things I could potentially be interested in or potentially want to try? What are those things? Was it or is it an instrument? Is it a guitar? Is it to write a movie? Is it to run a mile? Is it to lift a weight? Is it to post a video on social media? Is it to write a blog? Is it to make a website, fly a plane, learn to sail, learn to paint, learn to cook, learn to sew or knit, start a puzzle, start a book, start a movie, learn a language, travel to a new place, eat a new food, try a new hairstyle, try a new style? There are so many things. That is a laundry list of things that I came up with on the fly, like a little bit right before this. So I want you to do that. Find all of the things that you could potentially be interested in, all the things that you could potentially want to try in your life. Think long and hard. Pause. And then think of 3 things you'd love to do, but stop yourself before you do. Try your best to get to 3. Here are mine. I'll tell you my 3 that I came to after all of that big list of things, because I don't really want all of that stuff. Like, it's a big list I gave you, but I'm really not that interested in sailing. Like, I don't love being on a boat. So, like, I know that is not something I want to do. And I'm not really interested in flying a plane. I like being on a plane, but like that's not something I want to do. But I have a friend who's learning to fly a plane. And I think that's the coolest thing ever. Like I think it is so cool that he has had a passion and an interest in flying a plane. And he's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna go try and learn how to fly a plane. And he has been taking flying lessons for the past year. And he just did his first ever solo flight. That's so fucking cool. Like who would have thought in his lifetime that? And he probably never even thought that he would in his lifetime learn how to fly a plane. Like he probably, and I probably put him in this box of like, he has a job, he has a girlfriend, he has an apartment, like his life's kind of on one trajectory, on one path. And this hobby or this thing this calling in a way that it has been kind of in the back of his head to learn how to fly a plane just kind of got the back seat, just kind of never got to come to the forefront because life gets in the way of the things you want to try and the things you want to do and the hobbies you want to explore. And you never get to do them. But something in him, and I should ask him about it more, but something in him was like, I want to learn how to fly a plane. And he went and did it. And that's so unique and that's so cool. And it doesn't have to be as big as that, but it also can be as big as that because that's awesome. And that's not something everybody's doing. And that's like, that is how to become more interesting. It's finding that thing that you want to try or you want to do and going to do it. Even if he stopped after taking one flying lesson, that is such a cool story. That is such a cool thing that he can now talk about and explore and bring up in conversations and on dates and in relationships and in friendships and at work and in career and in interviews. Like that is really interesting. The way to become more interesting is to explore and try the things that you find interesting. Like even if he never did it again, or even if he did it for 6 weeks and decided that this is not the right time for it, that's interesting. And my 3 things that I'd love to try are to learn how to cook. I'm really not a great cook, and I would love to become much better. Like, I would love to be able to cook for 4 people and, like, cook for a dinner party, or even just cook for myself and make, like, a really nice, presentable meal that I'm like, I want to take a picture of that. Like, that looks really good, and I'm proud of that. That's something I want to do. I would also love to write a book. I think that is something that I have always wanted to do, and for one reason or another, I just don't see myself as a writer, or I don't think I'm a writer, so I don't do it. And the third one is I want to watch more movies. I love movies. Every time I watch a movie, I feel so inspired by it. I learn so much about myself and the movie and the world from it. Like I just get a lot from movies, and I don't like sit down to watch them enough, but that's something I want to do more. And I think that's like a pretty wide width, can I say that, of examples here. Breadth. I don't know. Okay. That's a really wide kind of span of examples here. One is kind of like an individual, I guess they're all kind of individual pursuits in a way, but they're not these like huge things that I can't do. And they're not these huge things that like anybody else can stop me from doing. The only person that's going to stop me from doing any of these is me. Like if I want to learn how to cook and I take that seriously, I can do that. Like I just have to spend the time and want to do it. If I want to write a book, like I can write a book. Nobody is stopping me from doing that. Like, does that mean I will get a book published and that mean I will become like a best-selling New York Times bestselling author? No, that doesn't mean that, but like that doesn't need to mean that. And if I want to watch more movies and spend more time like critically thinking about movies and rating them on Letterboxd or whatever, like great. Like that in itself is a hobby and a passion. Like those 3 things are all hobbies and passions and things I want to explore and experiment with a lot more. And those 3 things I think personally would make me more interesting. If I learned how to cook, or if I wrote a book, or if I was able to watch more movies, those are all things I can talk about and things I consider passions and believe are hobbies and passions. Like, I don't think they need to be flying a plane or learning to sail. They can be as simple as learning how to cook better, watching more movies, watching TV shows. Like, those are interesting things. Those are things that you can bring to the table and talk about and be inspired by. And I think, how do you become more interesting? It's just having more things to talk about up passionately and excitedly and come to a conversation being like, I just watched this thing, or I just learned this thing, or I just did this thing. And everyone's like, huh, like, tell me more about that. Like, and then you in turn get to ask them, be like, I'm more interested in what you're saying because I am confident in my interests. Does that make sense? Like, I am interested in the things I'm doing right now, and I'm more confident in myself and my abilities. And now I want to learn more about what you're doing and your abilities and your interests and your hobbies. And like, I guess to break that down a little further, because I am talking really quickly, I just had like a lot of coffee, and I'm sorry if I'm sounding like really like nuts on this episode, but I am really excited about this topic. So I hope that's coming through. I think that when you find hobbies and passions and things that you want to explore further, and things that get you excited to wake up in the morning, or things you're excited to leave work and go do more of or try more of, you become more confident in yourself. And I think that this question kind of stemmed from somebody wanting to go on dates and have more things to talk about and bring more things to the table and leave feeling like they were interesting. And I think the coolest part about this is that you actually get more confident in your own abilities by exploring your abilities. Like while you're trying to do this thing, whether the goal is to become more interesting on dates or in the office or in your friendships or in your relationships, you become more interesting to yourself. So pick something you want to try, or something that scares you, or something that you think will lead to a change for you and that you've always wanted to pursue, and allow yourself to do it. Like for me, it's allowing myself to cook a recipe even though I know I'm not good at it. And in the first time, and in the second time, and the 16th time, and the 32nd time, I'm not going to be a professional chef, and I'm not going to be amazing. But I have to kind of like give myself enough time to explore that passion or that interest to see if it's something I'm really interested in. Like, I think if you give up on try one or try two, like if I start cooking tonight and I don't make a great recipe, or I don't cook the salmon all the way through, or like I get explosive diarrhea because I didn't cook, like, I guess that's like a really crazy example, but like, let me take it back a little bit. I guess, that's speaking from personal experience, because I have tried recently, and it has led to that. So let me backtrack a little bit. I am trying to say that if you aren't good at your whatever you want it to be, or whatever you're trying to do on the second or the sixth or the 10th time, I don't think that is a reason to stop doing it. Like, if there is something telling you that you're interested in that, I think you have to give yourself enough time with that hobby to see if it becomes like a passion or a hobby. And Will Shortz, the same guy, the New York Times crossword guy, said this a little bit more eloquently than I did, and I think this will frame what I'm trying to say a little bit better. He said, "Don't be afraid to guess. Trial and error is inherent in the process of interest discovery. You'll have to try and figure out what you like and what you don't like, what you're drawn towards and what you back away from. You don't have to find the right one or the best one, just a direction is good. It can also be difficult to know if something is a good fit until you try it for a while." And I think that's what I'm trying to say. Like, you don't know if it's a good fit until you give yourself enough time to experiment, to explore, and to try. And you can't give up on the first, second, or fifth time. Like, you have to keep trying at it to know if it's something you want to keep exploring. So one time is not enough. 2 times is not enough. If I sit down and try and write a book for one night and I'm like, I can't get anything, that's not enough to give up on this pursuit. If I sit down for the 10th time and I'm still not loving it, like, maybe that's not enough. But if I sit down for the 50th, I'm like, okay, maybe writing a book isn't for me and I can try something else. But at least I gave myself enough of a chance to try and to see if it's something that I want to do, you know? And I think the best part about this is you will discover so much about yourself in the process, and that will give you so many new things to talk about. And if you realize that nothing you've tried is your thing, that doesn't mean you've failed at the experiment. Actually, I think it's the inverse of that. Like, I think you've succeeded because now you have something new that you've tried and you've proved to yourself that you've got that ability in you. The bug to try new things, the curiosity to put on a new pair of glasses and see through a different lens. Like, you have that in you, and that's like way better than where you were before. Like, that's great enough. That's already interesting. That is already a lot more to talk about than where you were before. There is no failure in experimentation. It's just picking up a new thing and putting down something else. And I can't tell you what you're going to discover from all of this or what you'll reveal about yourself from all of this. That is up to you. And it's completely up to you. Nobody else can determine that or tell you any of that. You can take this as seriously or as silly as you'd like, because there is no end goal here besides trying something new. Maybe it's reading, maybe it's writing, maybe it's weightlifting, maybe it's running, maybe it's biking, maybe it's yoga, maybe it's rock climbing, maybe it's racing, maybe it's a new sport, maybe it's a new style, maybe it's a new food, or maybe it's a new restaurant, maybe it's a new TV show, or maybe it's a new movie. There is no too big and there is no too small, and there is no limit to how many hobbies you can have or how many interests you can try. You can't have too many things that you're interested in. Will Shortz, this guy that I'm referencing in this essay he wrote, he also said this piece of advice, and I think this is my favorite piece of advice. He said, "Don't be afraid to erase an answer that isn't working out." And I'm going to paraphrase that or just kind of say it again, because I think that is probably the most important thing here. And it's what I'm trying to get out earlier with my kind of writing a book example. Like, if something doesn't work and it's not fitting or it's not working out the way you hoped it would, that's okay. Like, that's not a bad thing. There's nothing bad in all of this. It's all good. It's all leading to you, one, being more confident in your abilities, being more confident in the fact that you want to try new things, that you want to explore new things, that you're ready to try, that you're open to challenge, you're open to change, you're open to growth. Like, this is all good stuff. This is all great stuff. Like, these are things that people never think they can do, so they never do. And you're giving yourself the ability to do or to try. I think it's so fucking cool. So don't be afraid to erase things that aren't working. And what he's saying is to start in pencil and not in Sharpie. So you can erase, so you can cross out or scribble over or paint over or start on a new line or start on a new fresh page or start on a new chapter. Like, this isn't the time to decide your final interest or hobby right away. And there is no final interest or hobby. As I said earlier, like, there's no limit to how many hobbies or interests you can have. But you have to give yourself room to experiment and to erase and to write something new over it. This isn't the time to prioritize or pick one or two of these things that are going to become your thing. Now is not the time for that. Now is the time to discover, to be curious, and to try. Now is the time to seek and ask questions and ask more questions. And have some fucking fun with this. Like, it's just not that serious. But it's such a fun thing, and it's such a fun opportunity that we all have, like, every single day, that we can just be like, what's something I want to try? I'm going to go do that after work. What's something I want to do? I'm going to go do that this weekend. I'm going to give myself an hour and try and experiment. And, like, why not? There's no pressure, only result. The key to unlocking all of this is identifying the thing you want to try. But the way to turn the key and unlock the door is to actually do it. Actually give yourself the time and the bandwidth to be like, I'm going to go do that. And don't give up on them so quickly. Like, even if there's a small spark somewhere in there that you're like, I really liked that. Like, when I cook my thing tonight and I like, as I probably will, botch a recipe or not get everything right, or it may not taste as good or look as good as I hope it will. If there is even a small spark of joy or something in there that tells me, like, you know what, I enjoyed that. You give it another chance. You give it another shot. Spend another week trying to squeeze everything possible out of it. You only strike out when you say you want to do something and never actually do it. The only way to succeed is to actually show up and try it and actually do it. It's not nearly as interesting to talk about wanting to do the thing as it is to share what you've learned while doing it. Like, put yourself on the other side of the table of the date, or on the other side of the computer in the interview, or in the seat of the audience watching somebody on the stage. On the date, you would probably finish your drink and not text them again. Hopefully you'll text them being like, hey, I had a really good time, but I just don't really see this going anywhere. Because like you'd think, like they have all these things they said they want to do, but they haven't done any of them. Okay. And on the interview, you'd probably be like, this person seems really passionate and interested in a lot of things, but why have they not explored any of them? Because they'd have a lot more to say if they had explored them, or if they could tell me what they learned while exploring them. You'd probably leave the show thinking, I didn't learn that much, or actually, I didn't learn anything. And I probably would have left more if I got up from my seat and did whatever they were talking about, because then I would learn something about myself. Like, in all of these scenarios, on the date and in the interview and in the audience, you would leave thinking this person has never really followed through with any of the stuff they're talking about. This person only really talks the talk. They've never walked the walk. And I didn't leave learning anything or feeling like this person has any sort of drive or ambition or any of that, because they never pursued it. They only talked about wanting to pursue it. And there's nothing wrong with having an idea and a not fully formulated idea. Like, there is nothing wrong with that. That's important. That's like the initial part of this. That's the first sorry, I hit my chin on the microphone. That is the first and step you have to take in this. You have to decide the things you want to try. But the way to actually unlock all of this stuff is to really try it. Like, it's step 1 and step 2. Step 1 kind of leaves you hanging on a cliffhanger and without really anything if you don't actually go to step 2 and do the damn thing, you know? And most people are all talk. They don't actually walk the walk. They say, I want to do this, I want to be this, I want to try this, but they don't unlock the next step. They don't move to the next step, which is to actually do it and then have the ability to share what they've learned about the thing they're doing and what they've learned about themselves through doing it. They don't get to that next step. They don't unlock that kind of like bigger conclusion or the grand conclusion of all of this. And this is why I'm the biggest proponent of trying new things, because it really does unlock everything. And it's how you become more interesting. And eventually it will become clear that doing one thing better and better might be more satisfying than doing a bunch of different things kind of okay or kind of well. And that intuition and that gut feeling will help you narrow down the thing you like, or the things you like, and the things you want to continue doing. And going back to the initial question that I was asked and that inspired this whole episode is kind of this theory that I've created for this episode, and it's that people want ambitious people. Or better said, people are much more attracted to ambitious people and ambition. And people may not say that out loud, they may not admit that, but deep down, I think that is what people seek. Like, I personally think a girl is much more interested in a guy who has a passion or a drive to do something. Like, they want somebody that spends their days working on something or towards something, regardless if they say it out loud or not. Like, I think that is what people are looking for when dating of the opposite sex. And I don't know this to be true. This is just a theory. So don't come at me. This is just my opinion. One person's opinion. I really do think that. Like, I think people, and I think guys to girls too, like, I think if a girl says on a date, like, I don't know what I want to do. Actually, I'll speak from personal experience. Like, I went on a date with this girl one time and she was like, I don't really know what I want to do. And like, I don't think I want to do anything. Like, I think I want to be a stay-at-home mom. I was like, what? Really? Like, you're 24. How do you know that you want to do that already? Like, how do you know that you don't really want to try anything or do anything or like be interested in anything? Like, really? Like, and I was kind of like, like, I kind of left that date being like, I don't know what I feel about her because I don't really know what she wants to do, or I don't know what she is doing right now. I don't really think she's pursuing anything. Like, I don't know. And I was kind of left with this, like, I don't know feeling. And I don't think anybody wants anybody to feel that way about them. Like, I don't think anybody goes on a date hoping that somebody will leave feeling like the person is like, I don't know what I feel about them. You want them to feel one way or another. You don't want them to be like, I don't know if they had any ambition or had any kind of like hopes or aspirations or dreams. Like, I don't know. Give me something here. Give me something to work with. Like, there's not a lot to talk about then, you know? And this could be stereotypical, but I also think it is true. Like, people like passion. They like drive. They like interest. They want to talk about something. They want conversations to be interesting and for people to ask questions and to be confident and to have something kind of going for them in a way. And that can be a huge range. That can be going for them could mean a million different things, you know? But I really do think people are attracted to ambition at the end of the day. And they want someone who spends their days working towards or forwards something. And there is a big difference between somebody who doesn't know what they want to do and somebody who doesn't know what they want to do but never tries to figure it out. Like, I am not talking at all right now about somebody that doesn't know what they want to do. That is completely different. That is not this at all. And I've done many episodes, and I will continue to do many episodes on not knowing what you don't want to do or not knowing what your purpose is or what you think your career or work should be. Like, I think that's a huge part of all of our 20s because I personally don't know what I want to do. Like, I don't think anybody really knows what they want to do. That is not what I'm talking about at all. What I'm talking about is the person that doesn't know what they want to do but never actually seeks out something or never actually tries to find that or tries a different job or a different career or a different hobby or a different interest, because then it's kind of like, why not? Like, why do you not want to seek that out? Why do you not want to try different things and find your purpose or find the things that drives you or excites you to get up? Like, if you don't know what you want to do, but you're trying new things or trying to seek out what you want to do, exploring new avenues, then that's of interest all on its own. Like, that is not the person I'm talking about right now, because that in itself, I think, is inspiring, and that's ambitious, and that's interesting. That's a conversation or like an exploration, like that. Not knowing what you'd want to do in itself is kind of interesting, but like saying you don't know what you want to do and then sitting on the couch with no motivation towards success and no will to try, like, that is simply not that. But saying you don't know what you want to do, like while in a job or while applying for new jobs or while trying new things or trying on new things, like, that's completely different. I think I've made that clear now. I don't have to go deeper into that. But like, if you don't know what you want to do right now, like, that is not what I'm talking about. I hope that is very clear. I think it's very clear. And take dating out of all of this. I think deep down, you, listener, you are also attracted to ambition yourself. I think everybody sees themselves more confidently and in a better light when you're striving for something or when you're chasing something or when you're doing something or when you're trying something. I think that's why change is so good, because we see ourselves as somebody who can and somebody who wants to, somebody who wants something more or something bigger or something different. I think everybody feels better about themselves when they're in pursuit of something or they're allowing themselves to try something and not holding themselves back. I think it's a real unlock that I've discovered for myself, and I think it will be for you too. I think it's the perfect way to start this year or any new month or any time in your life when you feel stuck or you feel lost or just not like yourself, when you feel like you're in a rut or you're feeling bored or stale. I think this is actually the perfect time to, like, when you're thinking, I don't know what I want to do, to think about this episode, to come back to this episode. How do I become more interesting? How can I become more interesting? It's trying new things. It's experimenting. It's allowing yourself to do all of those things. So here are a few tips, and I know it's taken me a long time to get here because I really wanted to dive into like the psychology behind it all and why I think it's so important that we try new things and that it's not just for other people, it's also really for ourselves. But these are a few ways that I think you can find that for yourself if that's something of interest to you. And if this episode at all made you think, yeah, like this really does resonate with me, I do want to become more interesting. I'm always interested in that. Put yourself in a place that gets your mind going. For me, that's a walk outside or on a treadmill or any type of walk. My mind starts moving. And I start thinking about things in new ways, and I start allowing myself to understand what I just experienced or what I'm thinking more thoroughly and more thoughtfully. It's also at a desk for me or on like a workout mat with weights. Those are the times when my mind is moving most. And those are the places or the moments where I can think best, or I can will myself to try and think. Like I can say, oh, like I haven't thought in a while. Like let me try and like get some thoughts out. Find those places for you, or find that place for yourself and give yourself some time to get there. Like think kind of hard about like, where do you focus best or where do you think best? And then put yourself in that spot. I would then say once you're there, listen to something that stimulates your mind. For me, that's an audiobook or a podcast, and sometimes it's even like music, but it's usually a podcast or an audiobook where I'm like, this person has an interesting thought, and then I can go on my own thought wave. Like I can take what they just said and like completely take my own thought from that, if that makes any sense. There's other ways as well. Like I would say scroll on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube Shorts, your preferred place of social media, but with intention. And your intention here is to be inspired or be motivated or think about things differently. Like when you're scrolling social media with an intention, I think social media actually can be used for good. Like I think it really can be a source for great inspiration and motivation when you go into it and you set an intention for your scroll. I think it's a great place for all of that. I find so much inspiration from all of this. Or all of my time online, but only when I'm intentional about it. So that's another great way to like kind of open your mind to find new things or new hobbies or new passions. And then another way is to look to the people who inspire you, or the people you surround yourself with, or who you look up to. What do they do, or what would they do? And try that. And like the kind of answer to how to become more interesting is a lot more simple than all of this. To the question, how do I become more interesting? Follow the thing that interests you right now. You might be thinking like, yeah, no fucking shit, Josh. Like follow the thing that I'm interested in. That's how I become more interesting. Yeah. Yeah. That is literally it. Like whatever you think about right now in this split second that you're like, I want to try that. That's interesting to me. Follow that. So what is interesting to you right now? That is the answer to this question. And I've given you a few ways to spark interest or to find more interests. But I think if you think long and hard, you really think hard or quick right now and take the heavy weight of expectation off of yourself to find your next big thing or your next hobby, like take all of that out of it. You'll find it so much easier to be like, yeah, I do want to try that. Yeah, I want to do that thing. I want to try that thing. I've always wanted to do that. So like, yeah, that's it. I got it. Your hobby could be two things. It could be something that a lot of people already do, and that's a great way to take inspiration or find a spark by looking around at the people that inspire you or that you're inspired by, and try that thing or do that thing that they're already doing. And at the same time, your hobby or passion or interest can be something that nobody else does. Your thing doesn't have to look or seem that cool. I think people shy away from and overlook the less shiny things because we think those won't be as cool or as good or as great of conversation starters or as interesting to other people, when in fact, those most of the time are so much more interesting because nobody else is doing them. So don't shy away from something because it doesn't seem cool to everybody else, or you may not think that it's going to be a cool thing that you do. That's what actually makes you even cooler and even more interesting. When you know how to do something, or you're doing something that nobody else is doing, and you're trying something that nobody else is doing, that makes you so much more interesting. And at the end of the day, you're not doing this for somebody else. You're doing this for yourself, whether you know that or not. Finding your thing or your things may lead you to feel more confident. It may lead you to better dates. It may lead you to better conversations, better interviews, better relationships. Those are all kind of consequences of finding your passion and your hobby and experimenting and trying new things. It's kind of like one of those caution signs. Caution. Finding your passion or your hobby may lead you to feel more confident, or to stand up taller, or to be kinder, or think about yourself better and be happier and lead you to a better life. Beware. Finding the thing that makes you excited may lead to better conversations on dates, or at work, or in interviews, or in your relationships. Beware. Finding your passion or trying things that interest you may lead you to become more interesting. So, simplify it. Take the pressure off yourself from finding a hobby or finding your new passion. Just try something that's interesting to you right now. When somebody asks you, what are your hobbies? Everyone's always like, oh, that's a good question. Like, I don't know what my hobbies are. What is interesting to you right now? Just try something that's interesting to you right now. That is how to find your next hobby. And along the way, while you try new things that continue to interest you, that's where you'll find the answer to the question, how do I become more interesting? That is the episode. Thank you so much for listening to Guy Set, a guy's guide to what should be talked about. I'm Josh. I'm 25 years old, and I'm here every single week, every single Tuesday to talk about what should be talked about for guys. If you like this episode, I really hope you did. Please like, subscribe to this podcast. 5 stars. Maybe that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars, not 4, not 3, not 2, and 1. It's 5 stars. Thank you so much for that. I really, really appreciate that. If you have a question to me you want to talk about that should be talked about for anybody, I do an Ask Me Anything on my Instagram every single Tuesday. It's at Guy Set Podcast. The name of this podcast and the word podcast on Instagram. I do an Ask Me Anything every single Tuesday. That is the best place to ask me questions. It goes right to me. I will either answer it live that Tuesday night, or I will make a full podcast episode about it like I did this one. This actually came from a question somebody asked me on Instagram, and then I made an entire episode about that question, and I think that's one of the best ways I know what people want me to talk about, what people are interested in. So that's a great place to ask me questions. You can also head to my website, guyset.com, GUYSET.com. There is an Ask Me Anything box right there. It goes right to my email. It can be completely anonymous. You can ask me whatever you want, and I will be sure to talk about it. I also put out daily blog posts on that website, guyset.com. It's basically everything I'm talking about on here, but like way more extended. It's just like the bigger extension of the Guy Set universe. So a lot more blog posts, a lot more advice, a lot more tips, a lot more like practical things and ways that you can, I think, make your life better, your relationships better, your mindset better, your confidence better. So every day on guyset.com, you can find new things. You can watch this full episode on YouTube. You can find me on TikTok, on Instagram at the Guyset, at Guyset Podcast. Thank you so much for listening to Guyset, a guy's guide to what should be talked about. And I will see you guys next Tuesday. See you guys.